What on earth happened?
What just happened?
About a week ago today, Shedeur Sanders fell out of the first round, the second round, third, and fourth round of the NFL draft. Most of us know now he was selected in the fifth round by the Cleveland Browns. Probably the worst situation he could probably fall into. He's right now quarterback 5 there. Not a good situation. Somebody texted me. They said this could be, probably will be, an ESPN 30 for 30, an ESPN 30 for 30 documentary someday. That they will make this an ESPN 30 for 30 documentary someday.
That's a great idea.
There has been falls in the NFL draft before. Players have fallen all the time. Geno Smith fell out of the first round.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back, though.
We could give you a ton of examples. Never have I ever seen somebody who people had less than a year ago be the projected number 1 overall pick fall to the fifth round. I mean, less than a year. Something bizarre happened. Okay? So let's get into this. What do we think occurred? What is the backbone behind all of this? Okay? I'm actually not entirely shocked he fell out of the first round. I'm really not. Okay? There's 2 former first round picks at quarterback that I think had a lot to do with why Shedeur Sanders fell out of the first round. Okay? Quarterback number 1, Johnny Manziel. Yes, Johnny Football. Okay? I'm going to tell you a story about 10, 11 years ago. I think 2013 draft. Okay? Cleveland actually picked, I think, 9th overall in that draft. Okay? Johnny Manziel's agent had to talk Cleveland to coming back into the first round to get him.
With the 22nd pick in the 2014 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Johnny Manziel, quarterback, Texas A&M.
They were not going to do that again on a guy that had questionable character issues. They just weren't going to do it. You weren't going to convince the Haslam family to come back in on a guy like that. It just wasn't going to happen. So I do think Johnny Manziel had something to do with Shedeur Sanders not going in the first round. I don't think Cleveland was going to take that chance again. The other person is Kenny Pickett, his teammate now.
What?
Yes. A couple years ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think 20th overall, took Kenny Pickett in the first round. It didn't pan out. He didn't turn out to be very good. He's an adequate backup. That's about where his talent was coming out. That's where he is today. So Pittsburgh wasn't going to do that either. They weren't going to take a quarterback in the late first round, hope they could develop him and make it work. So again, I wasn't super surprised he fell out of the first round, especially with the character issues and how he handled stuff. But the fact that he fell to the fifth round and what everyone's saying is it's character and the red flags and all this bizarre things that went on, okay? Let's examine some of this, okay? Because something occurred from when the Super Bowl ended into the Combine, the Senior Bowl. I guess he went to the East-West game, into the draft process that turned off everybody, including, the Giants said they didn't have him on their board. Saints said they didn't even have him on their board. So how bad were these interviews? Was it as bad as what people were saying? Like, what occurred? And people keep bringing up red flags. Okay, well, there's these red flags. Okay, the Baltimore Ravens in the second round took a guy, okay, who has been accused of sexual assault, not once, but twice, once in college and in high school. They were like, you know what, he's a sick inside move. He's got a wicked first step. He can get to the quarterback. It's enough value in the second round. We'll take him, okay? The Atlanta Falcons traded back into the first round, okay? They gave up like a 2 and a 3 to get back in late first round to take a guy who 5 general managers, it's reported, that Ian Rappaport reported, 5 general managers did not even have him on their board because of his character and the way he had off the field issues, okay? So say what you want about Shedeur Sanders, and we can nitpick the tape, okay, of how good he is. Is he good enough to be a top 100 pick? Absolutely. He was fine, okay? He throws a pretty accurate ball, 74% completion percentage. Yeah, he had great receivers. He's good at keeping his eyes down the field. He resets his feet outside of the pocket. You can nitpick his deep ball's not very good, but the idea that he was not worthy of a top 100 pick off talent, the film just doesn't say that. So you get back into this of what occurred, okay? And like I said, there's plenty of guys with red flags. And then even looking at the other quarterbacks, okay, that were taken. Let's examine them. Kid from Louisville, the Saints took in the second round, broke his collarbone twice. I'm pretty sure the same collarbone, and had other major injury, okay? He's 26 years old. He was Justin Herbert's backup in college. Justin Herbert's on his second contract. He's on his contract extension right now. That guy. Okay, yeah, they said, yeah, we'll take him over Shedeur. 26 years old. There's guys that have been starting the NFL for multiple years more than him. Okay, Jalen Milroe. Say what you want about Jalen Milroe. I actually think you could develop him into something over there in Seattle. Jalen Milroe does not throw nearly as accurate ball as Shedeur Sanders throws. Okay, now, he is the closest thing on his feet to Lamar Jackson I think I maybe have ever seen coming out, but he is not the player Lamar Jackson is. They went there. Jackson Dart threw 29 touchdown passes. 19 were against Fordham and a couple other programs. I don't even know if they still have football teams. Not in love with the tape on Jackson Dart. Whenever he ran to the Kentucky defense, the Florida defense, he crumbled. These are all guys that went ahead of him. These are all guys they took in front of Shedeur Sanders. So what is the lesson here? What can be taken away? What are people sitting there going, man, why is he falling? Joel Klatt said, they view him as a backup. I don't think they will. I think he's got a real shot to win this starting job in Cleveland. What I think is two reasons. One, I think this was a message from the league, from the NFL GMs of, we don't like this. We don't appreciate this. This isn't something we want to represent ourselves. The other thing is, it's never a bad idea to teach your kids humility and to teach your athletes humility, okay? You never want to dive into stuff like that, okay? I know the TikTok clout, the YouTube clout, the look at me, it's entertaining, we love it, I'm into it too, but you never have to do that. The idea of coming into a meeting room and being like, yeah, I could have been better there, or you know what, that wasn't my best stuff. Shedeur never did that stuff, In the meeting rooms, it was, I don't really want here, maybe you shouldn't draft me. When you tell a GM to not draft you, they're going to take your advice, The sad thing about this whole situation with Shedeur is, I don't think his dad did him any favors either, and everyone at the NFL Network is friends with his dad. He was there for a long time. I get it, but the tweets, retiring his number, yeah, turned off a lot of people. And I'm fascinated to see where this will go. I'm fascinated to see what can come of this because I think the kid can play. Now, I don't think he's Josh Allen. I don't think he's Lamar Jackson. I don't think he's Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he's Joe Burrow. But I do think the kid can play. I think the tape is there. He showed up to a school with 1 win. He left it with 9. Okay? Those are pretty accurate. 74% completion percentage. Behind the worst offensive line in Power 5 conference football. Let's give the kid a little credit for what he can put on tape. And there's a real rumor that, he got blackballed. He might have, I think this will be one of the most interesting stories as we peel into this. Okay? Last point I want to kind of make here. If Shedeur Sanders had the talent Caleb Williams had, would this have changed anything? I think the answer is yes. I do think someone would have came back and got him. I still don't know if he'd have fallen out of the first round. Caleb Williams gave all the right answers. I'll play wherever I'm supposed to play. I'm just excited to be part of the league. I want to win football games. Shedeur didn't give those answers. Being humble in front of wealthy NFL executives and GMs is never not a bad idea. And now the pressure's on the kid, and the pressure's on Andrew Berry, and the pressure's on Kevin Stefanski. Can you develop this kid? Can this kid mature? Can he get better? Is it just another list of Cleveland quarterbacks that fall apart? I don't know. I'm cheering for the kid. I think he's entertaining. I think he's good for football. I know how good his dad was. This is a super fascinating and a super interesting story. Never seen anything like it. Comment below what you think should happen. Comment below if you think Shedeur's worth anything. Leave a like. Hit that subscribe button for me, guys. And I'll see you guys next Thursday.